no stranger to football, class of 1990, national champion from Georgia Tech, Bill Weaver with us tonight, our very own Bill Weaver. So, no stranger to football, no stranger to a microphone. He certainly has, he's not low on self-esteem, so we're looking forward to him speaking tonight.
We'll have karaoke after.
And then we've got obviously Coach Clack. I mean, I think this has been, what, 2 weeks since we've had it? 3 weeks? 2 weeks. 2 weeks since we've had it, so we've got a couple games to go through. Bill's going to walk us through both the Cambridge game, North Gwinnett, and then talk a little bit about Etowah. For those of you who've been here in the past, obviously we have the stationery and the pencils on the tables. Please write down questions. I'll be collecting them, and then afterwards we'll ask those questions for Coach Clack, and then we'll adjourn. So again, thank you so much for coming, Bill. We really appreciate you stepping in. So thanks so much. Turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Tim, and welcome to Clack's Corner. Here we are at Ceviche in downtown Alpharetta, and I'm your host, Lisa, tonight, Bill Weaver. And with me, as always, is our special guest, Adam Clack, head football coach of our Milton Eagles. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, great to be here. We're going to, as Tim said, we're going to get into past couple of games as well as talk a little bit about what we've got coming up this week. But let's talk about the issue at hand. Mother Nature threw you a curveball this week. And we've got a couple of days of school and practice canceled. How's that change your preparation?
Well, again, started getting news about this and when it was going to hit. Late in the week, pretty much Friday, everything was zeroed in that Monday was going to be up in the air. We were going to go Monday morning. We'd already had that plan, hoping that we could get some gym space and get in there. And so we had our plan on the board today as we were meeting. And this is what we're going to do if we're in the gym. This is what we're going to do if we're outside. If it gets washed out, this is what we'll do on Tuesday. Kind of roll these things, add these things, and then as we all looked at each other and said, "Yeah, looks good." That's when we get the call that nope, we're not just out Monday, we're out Monday and Tuesday. So it was pretty cool though. The coaches took it right in stride. We started going back to work, and we're going to come back with a Wednesday morning film, helmets only deal, and then go Wednesday after school. So the boys should be rested. We had a bye week to get our legs back a little bit this week, and they're going to get another couple of days. So we'll be communicating with them via huddle, text, all those type of things. They can find a dry place to get a little running in. That'd be great. And then we're going to get after it on Wednesday and be ready to roll.
Yeah, good. So with a short week like that, is there anything that you're concerned about not being able to get in as far as your game plan goes?
Well, you would definitely start to scale back. If you had an expansive install that week, or you're really trying to get creative or anything like that, you definitely want to keep it a little more simple. You know what I mean? You're only going to have so much time, and that's just natural. But we feel like the work we put in the summer, the work we put in, up to this point, we're ready to push this thing forward, and the guys have gotten lots of reps at our base stuff. So dust off the rust a little bit and scheme it up a little bit. And let's go.
Good. Well, you had an extra week anyway, so hopefully things will turn out okay. Let's talk about last week. Congratulations. You got your first backyard brawl victory. That's fantastic. Cambridge is not one of our longtime rivals. It's not Alpharetta, it's not Roswell, but they have become an intense rival very quickly. What was the atmosphere like out on the field? What did you feel down there during the game?
Honestly, I thought the boys on both sides handled it extremely well. We definitely talk about controlling our emotions and responding in the proper way. And one thing that you can't control is your response. You can't control anything else really. And we preach that all the time. And I thought the boys handled it really well. Definitely leading up to the game, the emotion kind of in the stadium, you could feel it. And it was pretty cool. So we've talked about that week one, or not week one, but the first coaches show that we had with the three rivalry games, crosstown games, and you know that's what you're signing up for with this program, and it's something that you guys are passionate about, the boys are passionate about, and the coaches are passionate about. So it's a lot of fun.
Great game, although some new conditions for this team this year. It was a rainy night. It was the first wet game we've had. In the first quarter, first half seemed a little bit sloppy. It seemed like we were having a tough time sustaining drives. We were giving away a few things on defense. What was going through your mind during that first quarter and a half?
It's kind of funny. The sloppiness started with the coin toss. As a matter of fact, we wanted the ball, and we ended up deferring. So that was a conversation we had to have off the get. And the reason I wanted it was because I was worried about a long drive in an emotional game like that, especially one where you feel confident in your skill level. I felt confident in our offensive unit versus their defensive unit. I wanted to try to set the tone early and turn that emotion to us, whereas they were able to take a 6-minute drive. And I felt like that really set the tone for that first half. We moved the ball up and down the field, and then struggled a few times in the red zone to actually make those points and capitalize on those points. And then, some of the sloppiness with the penalties and the 15 penalties throughout the game. That's obviously something that slow you down a little bit.
Yeah, 15 penalties, so I think they're 5 maybe. What did you chalk that up to?
I mean, a lot of them were penalties. Some of them were bang bang. Some of them, I don't know. But at the end of the day, a false start is a false start. We had a couple of those. A couple of those bang bang plays of the pass interferences and things like that. You're not going to get all those calls go your way. So just things that, again, we got to control the ones that we can control and let go of the ones that we can't. I really did in the moment. I was extremely proud of how they responded to some of those questionable ones, especially the defensive guys. We had a very questionable pass interference call that they lined right back up and went to work in. Had a very bang roughing the passer call that defense just lines up and they went back to work. And I was very proud to see that.
That's great. So you mentioned the red zone, Coach. You guys got in the red zone 3 times and didn't come out with a score, which brought down actually a red zone conversion percentage a little bit. You guys were very strong in that category the first couple of games. What was going on in that game that just made it tougher to punch it in?
We had a mission, or not a mission, an objective, if you will. We wanted to come out and establish a good rhythmic passing game. I think it's important for the big picture. Again, I've talked about we're trying to beat Week 15. We're trying to do things and build things in a big picture way that aren't just going to help us beat Cambridge, but they're going to help us beat those teams down the road. And so in that first half, we were really trying to get quarterback in a groove, get those guys in a groove a couple times, maybe in the low red or that red zone area. We went to the passing game there. Down the road, we're going to have four packages that utilize our 300-pound average up front. And I know that's something that people probably see, and it's definitely something that I understand. But kind of like a historical reference, I watched. We were just talking about Camden, a coach that I respect very much, Jeff Herron. They had a great rushing attack down in Camden years ago, and they had an SEC quarterback, SEC receivers, and skill guys all over the field. And there's an adage if option A works, you never go to option B. Well, they ran the ball down everybody's throat for 12 ball games, but then Norcross comes to town and they couldn't run it down their throat. And when they went to a passing attack, it looked like they were a team that was doing it for the first time. And so, that's kind of the way I look at that, especially early season games and things. We're going to make sure we're trying to work in live bullets everything that we think we need to do to take this team as far as we can take it.
That's great, and I think that passing attack and trying to set that up was music to a lot of folks' ears here in Eagle Nation. I think you're creeping up on about 50-50 pass run.
We definitely want to be balanced, and balance doesn't necessarily mean 50-50, but it means we can threaten you in any situation that we're in so that you can't sit back and know what we're going to do.
So as you got a little over halfway through the second period, that's when things seemed to change. We got a field goal lined up, onside kick, get the ball, drive down, score a touchdown, change the entire game at that point. The onside kick, not your first time. Is that something that you see? Is that something that was planned? Did you figure that out, or is that, hey, we need this right now, let's go?
Yeah, it was more of a feel thing. Again, going back to exactly what we were talking about earlier with the 6-minute drive, they had the ball again for a long time. felt like we were getting close. We'd been in the red zone 3 times. We got 3 points. We got that field goal. Just felt that our defense was playing so good on a short field. So even if we didn't get it, I wasn't that concerned. I felt like it just would force the action of the game a little more. So, you call it calculated risk. If I feel like we can overcome the negative, then what's the harm? And then obviously getting it, huge shot in the arm, and go down, score in 2 plays. Yeah, definitely felt like it helped force the action of the game.
It's a great point, and I think that's something that maybe a lot of us don't think about as we're watching a football game. But your defense is playing fantastic football right now, playing very physical, and from that standpoint, how much are you leaning on them to give your offense the opportunity to unleash where you want to?
It all fits together. Sometimes you got a good defense and you want to play field position. Keep putting them in good spots. Punt it, play safe. Sometimes you got a good defense. It allows you to be more aggressive. And again, that just goes into, along with special teams, we talk about it each week, is we don't want to just always be one way on one side of the ball, one way on the other side of the ball. How does it fit all together? Maybe a game where we're scared to death of their offense, and now our offense is going to need to hold the ball longer. Hold the ball and work the clock down, keep their unit off the field. So it's all comparative based on what you think how each unit lines up with theirs.
So let's talk a little bit about stats for that game. We had 180 yards rushing to their 62, 222 yards passing to their 166. We were 19 of 31 passing, and I know one of those came from somebody that wasn't your quarterback.
Right.
That was a great play.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something that was in the playbook already, or is that something that you guys decided to put in specifically this week, that pass play by Solomon?
No, we want to always bring in some type of creative play each week just to give teams something to work on. You cycle those things through. The more you can put on film, the more ways you can attack a team, the more they have to practice. So it wasn't necessarily like just something we saw against Cambridge. That's halfback pass is pretty tough for anybody to stop if you get it off and you execute it.
So he is now the leading passer percentage-wise on your team.
Yeah, he's batting 1,000.
Keep that in mind, Coach. Speaking of passing percentages, Jordan was 18 of 30 for 186 and a touchdown. From just a percentage completion standpoint, is that where you want a quarterback to be? I mean, based on the type of offense you run, the type of routes that you run, what are you looking for from a success factor?
Well, and again, each game's different. We'll talk about North Gwinnett later. But if a team's forcing you to take shots down the field, you understand that 45 to 50% isn't bad. If you hit on 50% of your fade routes, you're probably doing a pretty good deal. Now, if you're throwing hitches and bubbles and quick game, you want that to be closer to 70%. But again, the quarterback doesn't throw it and catch it at the same time. So receivers got to get open, offensive line's got to protect, we got to execute on the play. So I think another hidden stat in there, there were some drops. There were 4 or 5 drops in there. The ball was a little slick. So there's whole team effort that goes into those type of stats and passing percentage and all that kind of thing. So, but yeah, definitely want to get that percentage up. Again, part of why we made a big point to throw the ball around a little bit. Shows us that we got to keep working on it. The more reps we get at it, the better we're going to be.
So 24-6 victory over a rival, always a good thing. What are you taking away from this game? Who were the standouts for you in this game, maybe that weren't obvious? And what are you working on to correct coming out of the big win?
Again, our offensive line just keeps getting better and better each week. I love that we had the ability to throw the ball around a little bit. I thought the passing game got better as the game went. Solomon Van Horst just keeps being a workhorse. We told him coming out of the half that we're going to start leaning on him and to be patient. They had the best comment you could ever ask from a player. Said, don't worry about me, coach, whatever the team needs. And I was like, wow, that's pretty special. Defensively, like I said, we keep playing good ball. You know, I think we've given up two legit drives all year. You know, a couple big plays here and there are going to happen, but 2 legit drives. We'd love to start seeing us press the issue a little more on defense. I think something that we've talked a little bit about. You know, right now we're sitting back and keeping everything in front, which is great. Sometimes that's what the game calls for. We'd love to start seeing, you know, us challenging a little more. It's something that we've talked about. And then offensively, we've got to become more efficient, more rhythmic, if you will. And then obviously the penalties that we've talked about is something we're really focusing on, cleaning those up.
Yeah, good. Well, again, congrats. We were supposed to win that game, and we did, convincingly. Well done. So we haven't met since since the previous game, North Gwinnett. Let's go back and take a quick look at that one. Great game. Back and forth, hard fought. Jump out to a quick lead. Their quarterback gets hurt. Things look great for us. They score a quick one at the end of the first half. Come out. The battle continues in the second half. You get a couple really quick back-to-backs on a scoop and score and another play. Where was the team's head between the first half of that game and the second half of that game? How did you see the emotion swing, or what was happening on the sidelines?
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that you just covered that going in that game. You know, one of them was the quarterback going down, and this is not a cop-out. This is not a you know, make excuse type of comment. However, in a weird way, I think it was the worst thing that could have happened for us. I think we were talking about it earlier. Everybody in the building, everybody on the field, everybody on the sideline saw that major Division I quarterback go down, 14-0 lead with the ball. This game's over. You know, and I'll be the first to admit it. I had feelings of that going through my mind. It was, we're about to go and really punch this one in, take a 21-0 lead. Holy smokes, you know, things are looking up. And I think we all kind of dropped our guard a little bit. The other thing is that quarterback that came in is darn good. And then it changed their game plan. And we didn't react to the change in their game plan. In hindsight, you know, I would have really gone in and we would have done some different things. You know, one thing that they do is called RPO, a run pass option. They didn't do that a lot with the starting quarterback because they were confident in his skills. With the backup quarterback, that's what they went to, and so we didn't counter their counter as well as we would have liked to. But there's lessons learned. You know, those are things that we'll talk about. We missed opportunities to put them away in the first half. They scored on a big play, 14-7. Came out in the second half. I thought we played a great football game in the second half. I really do. But you let a good team hang around. You let a good team hang around. They hit you. We go up 21-10 on a beautiful play that we connect with Solomon on. Again, I think everybody's jumping up and down. The stadium's going nuts. Perfect play call on their part. Tip of the cap. They come back with their trick pass, double pass right there. Call us celebrating, I think, still. And then we had the miscue. First fumble and only fumble of the year. And it was at a bad time and a bad spot on the field. Bounce up, they take it in. But you know, one of the biggest takeaways, and there's a couple of huge takeaways from that game, but the next drive that we had was phenomenal. You know, we actually punted and then got the ball back and then went in and scored, took the lead. And I thought that was awesome to overcome that huge swing of emotion, to weather the storm, come back, take the lead. I was very proud of our boys there. Felt really good with our defense, who hadn't given up a drive all year with less than 2 minutes to go. However, it was the 47th minute of a hot night of week 2. I think whatever offense is on the field right there, it probably has the advantage. And they had the ball. They converted a 4th and 6 in the red zone. You know, that was another great play call. Guys were running to the ball, playing tough, but they completed it and then went in on the next one. Didn't lose much time. So, you know, it made us go back and reflect and look at the mistakes we made. Came back and had a heck of a week of practice the next week. And I think that got us ready to go in and play Cambridge. Had a great bye week practice. I think that's still a byproduct of that game. And, you know, moving forward, learning lessons.
Yeah, I think as you said, so many great things came out of that game. What you did offensively, I think, defensively the same. You had the block punt, made this, a great stance after that. And then on that last drive, they just executed flawlessly. I'm not sure there's anything you can go back and look at on film and go, what could we have done better? Now, maybe there is, but they really did a nice job of moving the ball down the field in that last drive.
They did. I chalk it up to being the 47th minute of the second game of the year, and a game that was back and forth between two very good teams. Yep. And we were tired. And I don't sit back and say, man, we're not in shape. No, we're in great shape. It was just that's a long game, lots of plays, lots of emotion, and like I said, flip it the other way, and I feel confident that we'll go with it and drive it down.
So you walk off the field, you go into the locker room. 20 minutes prior, you had probably one of the more confident football teams in the state, and then that happens. What's that conversation with the team like in the locker room?
I hope the confidence wasn't shaken at all, because mine wasn't. That's part of it. That's part of the ebb and flow. That's why I hate hearing 10-0 and things like that, because you got to be in the moment, bouncing back, handling success the right way, handling adversity the right way. What I told them in the locker room, I think they were getting ready for I don't know what they were waiting on, but I just, I told them to pick their heads up. I told them that sit around and cry and moan about week 2 losing to a good team that you had an opportunity to put away. That if you look at it the right way, you should take confidence away from it, because we're not even close to playing our best ball yet. We talked about adversity, and it's said that adversity, failure breeds success. You get strength through adversity. Well, I think that's a little misleading. You get strength through a proper response to adversity, and that's what we start talking about. We can sit around and lose confidence, or we can sit around and point fingers, or we could go back to work, and know that we're toe to toe with some obviously a good team, as they've gone on to beat Norcross and gone on to wear out Hillgrove. And I'd line up and play them right now, and I wouldn't trade a player.
Yeah. Well, I love the no excuses attitude. You put that one behind you real quick with a win at Cambridge. So let's look ahead to Etowah. They're an interesting team. They're probably better than their record, 2-2. They've had a shutout. I think they shut out Campbell at the beginning of the season. However, since then they've had 91 points scored on them over the last 3 games. How do we match up offensively against their defense?
We match up well. They're obviously going to be very disciplined. They're going to, play the run extremely well. They're going to keep the deep ball in front of them. And I think they're going to be a team that's going to patiently wait on us to see if we can correct our issues and making mistakes on those drives. We feel good with our matchups. I feel good with our offensive line. They match up with just about anybody. I feel good with the progression our receivers are making. And I feel good with the progression our quarterbacks making. So, we're going to have, like I said, in a short week, basic game plan, do what we do. Try to expose the areas that we see that we can expose against the basic scheme that we see. And go out there and just try to continue to play clean and good hard football.
So we know a little bit about their defensive coach over there. What similarities have you seen to what Milton used to run on defense and what is being run over there now?
They're, coaches are who they are. Just like I talked about with North Gwinnett, that was Bill Stewart. I've seen Bill Stewart when he was at Etowah. I saw him when he was at Mill Creek. I see him when he's at North Gwinnett now. And Coach D will be the same way. So there'll be a 4-3, cover 2, cover 4 type of look. Like I said, they're going to be extremely disciplined, and they're going to do exactly what they're coached to do. It'll definitely look familiar to you guys.
So, they traditionally ran a gap defense, one man in every gap. All that's still the same? Mm-hmm. Still same attack points and all that for us offense?
Should be, like I said, a 4-3 look on in the box. Whether you're getting a strong side 3 or one technique, they'll switch that kind of stuff up. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw some kind of curveballs at us. We'll just, again, as long as we don't, try to do things that we're not comfortable doing, we should be able to respond and react to anything we're doing.
Great. So defensively, we've held our opponents to about 42 total points this year. What are you doing defensively against a team that's got some speed and talent?
It's going to be fun. I was talking to I think it was George Coyle the other day, and I said I really don't know right now. You get a sense for your team and your matchups, and hey, is this a spread team? Is that in our favor, or is this a team that's going to run right at us? Is that in our favor? I don't know with our team right now. We just haven't been together long enough. So what's going to be cool about this challenge is they're going to come right at us. And they're going to load it up, and they're going to run their counter trade, and they're going to run their ISO, and they're going to try and see, what's our intestinal fortitude when somebody comes at them and keeps hitting them, I've got confidence that our guys are going to respond and rise to the challenge. So that's the exciting thing about this game coming up is, it's a little different than the attack of the last few teams. So we'll definitely be coached up and ready to go and try and take away what they want to do.
Great. So, coming off a bye week, we've got, seemed like nothing major injury-wise out of the Cambridge game. How's everybody doing? We healthy as a football team?
Yeah, we're doing great. As we keep rolling along, we get the minor bumps and bruises. But no major bone or soft tissue deals. So, especially with the bye week, now another 2 days. They'll kind of be able to heal up. I hope all of our bumps and bruises heal up, and we'll be full strength.
Great. All right, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about the stats for this year. And really what I'm interested in is when you look at our passing yardage compared to our rushing yardage, 548 yards passing on the season, 573 yards rushing. As I said, close to 50%. How intentional is that?
Not at all. Like I said, we're going to go into each game with a game plan that's going to give us the best chance to win. Now, I did tell you, like in the Cambridge game, we intentionally wanted to come out throwing the ball a little earlier to get them in rhythm. But what you'll find is, if we're calling the game the way we should, and the guys are executing, they kind of work out that way. And if the rushing yardage starts to skew and get a lot higher than the passing yardage, that doesn't concern me at all. It's do you threaten teams out of every set, a run and a pass? Are you finding tendencies where, hey, it's always first down you're running, first down you're passing, you wait till third, that's the only tendencies that I would worry about. Hey, you only run the ball out of this set. You only throw the ball out of that set. So right now, with those numbers being so close, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't have told you those numbers until you just told me. Those numbers right there don't really give me a whole lot of analysis about what we're doing.
Well, great. We'll stay on our toes then, and so will the other teams. And so, switching over to defense real quickly, you've installed a new defense this year. It's a look that none of our players have seen, and it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on the linebacker positions this year. Two of your top tacklers, George Coyle's got 24 tackles on the season. Bryce Towns has 23 tackles on the season. Where are you with your linebackers and how well they're picking up the defense and the impact that they're having on the game?
Well, good defenses, the linebackers better be making the tackles. If your safeties are making all the tackles, you got something going on. So, now they're doing a great job, and I think they would be the first to tell you that it is that joint effort. We're being very disruptive up front with three D linemen. Those D linemen force the football to the linebackers. The linebackers make the tackles and the safeties have the backs. That's the way good football works. So right now we're cycling some guys through. In a way we have 3 linebackers inside, but those safeties roll down and are essentially outside linebackers at times as well. And some of our linebackers go down and play some D-line. So we're trying to get a good collective group that works for each other. I don't hear them talking about their stats a lot, which is great, kind of music to my ears. I think they're just happy flying around and playing some good ball.
Great. So we talk a lot, obviously, every week about the big players, the big names, you know, Jordan Solomon, Georgie Coyle, Price Town. What other players are making big impacts and maybe their names aren't said over the loudspeaker a lot?
You know, again, you never hear the O-line. You never hear their name called out. You know, and collectively, there's a great article, you know, on the paper the other day. You know, collectively, they're working together and really, you know, driving that offense, and you know, and the D-line as well. Right now, you know, some of them may look at sack totals being down or some of those things, but they're allowing us to drop 8 into coverage and rush 3. I mean, that's impressive. You know, when you can be disruptive, when you know, Blanks and Best and Uribe and Gang, when they go out and get a pass rush with 3 guys, I mean, that just sets the table for everybody else.
So, if you wrap it all up and you look at, start with the offense, where are we as a team relative to where you hoped we would be at this point in the season?
Well, if you just look at it holistically, it's something that we really took an opportunity to do in the bye week. We had 3 games, so we take a 3-game snapshot. I don't know if I've talked about, you know, our keys to victory are the kind of 7 staples that we go through. You know, number one is our fundamentals, you know, blocking, tackling, and pad level. You know, right now, I think we're doing a pretty good job. I don't have the number offhand, but I don't think we've missed more than 12 tackles, 12 missed tackles in 3 games. That's not horrible. That's pretty good. You know, like I said, I keep saying our blocking continues to come along, and when we talk about pad level, that's literally, if you're watching our game, are our guys lower than the other guys? We still got improvement to do there, but you know, I think we're doing a good job there. We talk about, you know, obviously the red zone. Our defense is giving up 29% touchdowns in the red zone. That's phenomenal. Anything under 30% is outstanding. Offensively, we're scoring 52% of the time touchdowns in the red zone. We want to push that up to about 75%. So those are some things that we're working on and putting some packages together. And you know, like I told Coach Reeves, I said I want to have that package in where I say it's, you know, you essentially have 8 plays to get 15 yards. You know, what can we line up in and know we're getting 3 yards every time? So we're working on those type of things that I think would be beneficial to help that out. We talk about ball. It's all about the ball. Right now we're +3 in turnover margin. That's pretty good through 3 games. If you can get about a 1.5 average right there, you're elite. We're 1 + 1 a game right now, and we've only put the ball on the ground once. You know, so that's phenomenal. We'd like to take it away a little more. Start ripping at it a little more and getting it out, but we're picking it off in the secondary pretty well. And then the biggest room for improvement, you know, is our focus piece. You know, we've got 32 penalties versus the opponent's 22. So we definitely like to clean that up. And like I said, some of those are out of your control. Some of them are effort penalties. You know, if you're playing O-line and you're going at it hard, sometimes you're going to get called for a hold. And you live with that. But you know, false starts, alignment issues, personal fouls after the whistle. You know, those are the things that we got to eliminate to be a cleaner football team.
So, Coach, 2 more quick things, and then I'll turn it over to Timmy Coyle for some questions from the audience. You've got a bit of an odd situation where you've got bye weeks so close together. Right? What's different about your bye weeks than your regular game week?
Well, the first thing is I want them to have a little bit of time off. You know, I think that would be pretty common for most. You know, next bye week may be a little different now that we've got Irma thrown at us, and we're going to have 2 more days off here. But last week, for example, they've been grinding for all summer into, you know, early fall, 3 games plus a scrimmage in. So I gave the coaches off Sunday because they need the bye week as well. We came back in Monday. Worked Labor Day for our meetings. We gave the guys off Monday. I gave the varsity guys off Tuesday practice, but we ran and lift and did some kind of talking things. And then we had a great Wednesday practice that I think maybe is what differentiates us a little bit, where it's about nobody else but us. We do a lot of situations. You know, the ball's on the -40. We're going to drive the field. You know, we put 1s versus 2s, and you know, if the offense had the ball, it was always 1st and 15, and they had to overcome that. If defense had the ball, the first defense versus second offense, it was always started at 1st and 5. You know, so they had to overcome a 5-yard penalty any first down. Just different things like that. We worked overtime. We worked some third down stuff. So going back to us, and then the last 2 days we used to get ahead of region opponents. We went ahead and started looking ahead to some of our region opponents and some things that we might need installed that would help us against them, and utilize that week. And you know, and also getting ahead of Etowah a little bit.
So you mentioned some of the situational things you're doing in practice among the 1,000 other things that you have to do out there. One of the things that I think was really obvious to everybody when you came into the program was how structured your practice was. You know, timed periods, everybody's moving, everybody's involved. There's a lot going on in your practice. What have you done since you've been here to tweak that, if anything?
Definitely, you know, and you can only take what you know, right? And you take what you know, and then you have an opportunity to build or take away or tweak, like you said. And some practices that we had developed over years at West have become extremely, like you said, organized and specialized. A lot of 5-minute periods, 6-minute periods, 7, whatever. We don't want to ever just sit there for 15 minutes in one spot, you know, kind of get monotonous, kind of get stale. We try to keep everybody moving at all times. So if the varsity's working over here, I want the JV working over there. If we got special teams working here, those not involved need to be getting something done. So we brought that practice plan in, and you know, after the first couple of weeks, just wasn't quite happy with exactly what we did in the past and how it was translating to now. So didn't throw things out, but really went back to the drawing board and started tweaking some things and moving some pieces around. The flow of practice is extremely important to me. It should almost be ebbs and flows. If you stay too low for too long, it starts to get boring. If you stay too high for too long, you can't keep your energy that high. So we always work to kind of build fundamentally part whole, peak with some type of competitive period or team period, come back, build it back up, and you know, so where you put your special teams periods, where you put your fundamental periods, all of those things go into making the flow of practice. So kind of maybe a long answer to a short question, but I mean, there's just so much into it. Just the amount that we put into reflecting on our practice is I would put it up there with anybody else.
Sure.
So it's just extremely important because I believe in that correlation. It's a great practice equals great play.
Well, Coach, you told us at the beginning of the season, let the process work, and so far it is working, and we're starting to see it on the football field. Congratulations again on a huge win over the Cambridge Bears, your first backyard brawl victory. Very exciting for us and the rest of the team. And now, I turn over to Tim Coyle. He's got some questions from the audience. Timmy.
Well, first of all, thanks, Coach Clack. I mean, absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate it. Great job. And as I said before, no stranger to football, but certainly no stranger to a microphone either. Bill Weaver did a fantastic job. Okay, we're going to get the process started with the questions, so the Q&A process. So we're going to turn it over to Bill Weaver. Thanks again, Bill.
Thanks, Tim. Welcome back. Clack's Corner. Big night here at Ceviche. We got a lot of smiling faces.
It's called clack. Like crack.
We're going to have to wrap this up. We got Cowboys Giants on 25 minutes.
15 minutes.
All right.
All right, Coach, first question.
15 minutes.
First question from the audience. You had a big day yesterday in theater.
Absolutely. Bring out the broom. Yeah, Peter, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, swept Etowah. Hopefully we can follow suit. Got right back with them. But Brad Zettler and those guys, they do a heck of a job, put together a great feeder program, really promoting our brand. That's what I talk more about, and really believe that the true impact of feeder football is your brand. You know, get those guys dying to be a part of it. We actually, next home game, there are a bunch of those guys who did certain things in their fundraising. They're going to get to have a pregame meal with us and have the sideline experience and come through. So any little opportunity we got to bring those guys into the fold, make them, you know, just Grave to be with us one Friday night, I think is awesome. I know they had a big week the week before. 6th and 7th grade went to Lassiter and won. I think 8th grade, again, like I said, won last night and played very competitive the week before. So we're hosting that state championship game I think it's early November. So hopefully we'll have some guys playing in it. And it could be a great little season for us.
Could be great. How much time did you get to spend with the feeder coaches this year coming into the season?
Not as much as we'd like probably. Just with the transition and everything. But as we move forward, it's definitely something that I want to be available and have our coaches available. We did have a couple coaches clinics. Our coordinators are definitely available for them to come and talk, and I'm available for them whenever they need. Some of the guys are around more than others, and we all often talk. But again, to me, the schematics of it isn't as I don't want to say they're not important, but if they're not running something exactly the way the varsity's running it, that's okay. As long as they're having fun playing ball, teaching them kind of the proper fundamentals, and teaching them about the different way. That's what it's really about.
Great. We throw questions on the floor like peanut shells when we're done with them. I got a couple of questions that are similar, Coach. I'm going to paraphrase. With our defense, we haven't this year done a lot of stunts, a lot of blitzing. Is that your approach, or do you plan on getting a little more aggressive as the season goes along?
Again, just like the red zone discussion we had with offense, there's layers to building everything that we're doing, and right now, with our guys still learning some of the things and us figuring out who can do what, that will dictate some of the schematic things we do early on. I think you'll see, some evolution as we go forward. That's definitely some discussions that we've been having. But again, we want to make sure we're doing the base building block stuff correctly. And when you bring pressure, that means you expose your back end. You make yourself more vulnerable with big plays. So it's just one of those, again, calculated risk reward type of things. As we get more confident in that part of it, you'll probably see some more pressure down.
And nobody wants their back end exposed, Coach. But, so what you're saying is it's not a philosophy. It's a do what it takes based on the talent that we have and the team that we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, if you put me up against it and said, are you a pressure guy or a coverage guy? Me personally, if I had to be one or the other, I would err on the side of pressure. But again, this is week 3 of hopefully a 15-week season. So, again, we're going to continue to move forward and put different things in. Something that we definitely worked on in the bye week. Playing some different type of looks and allowance and things like that. So, definitely something that you'll see more of. Again, but depending on the matchups, depending on what we think gives the best chance to see.
All right, switching gears. This is a question about recruiting, and I'm going to assume it's about college recruiting and not us recruiting. We've had a number of athletes go to college and play football over the past few years. What's your philosophy around college recruiting, and how do you manage that activity?
Oh man, that's a pretty big question. That's pretty wide. In what regard? I'm curious, like a little more specifics.
So, there's one aspect of recruiting is player promotion, right? How are we engaging proactively with colleges and universities that want to see our kids?
Yeah, to me it's a collaborative effort. There's got to be discussion on the front end. What are the interest of a player to go on and play at a different level. What level are they interested in? What level are they not interested in, if you will? Knowing, are you willing to go across the country, play D3, or is it SEC or bust? Is it Southeast or bust? Those type of things, and then we start to formulate a plan, and we start lining up some visits. So anybody can pretty much get tickets to go to games, and we can help arrange that. we have a database, and we have a recruit coordinator, and we constantly try to communicate any successes out, through that. We want to be extremely accommodating to the college coaches when they come around, and I think my biggest role in the entire process is to build relationships with those guys, and to make it so when they come on our campus, it's not a waste of time. We've got the transcripts ready, we've got the prospect sheet ready. We give them accurate and honest information, and then we promote all small successes, all big successes, and let football speak for itself.
What about camps? Camps during the off season the colleges have.
Talking about like in the summer and things like that.
Right.
I'm definitely in support of those type of things. I think going to camps just to go to camp sometimes maybe a waste of time, waste of money. I think going to camps to measure yourself, eat, maybe get a feel of what that place is like, or maybe if you've been invited, intentionally to those camps. So there's not a one answer to that, if you will. I can answer it in the sense of I don't shut those things down. I'm not worried about a kid going and I have a hard line stance that you can't do this. It always comes back to me of the better football we play, and to make sure that we keep our priorities. We were just talking about this with Mr. Watson. When it's that hard lesson in life to learn is that sometimes when I'm selfishly, I actually will get more out of it. And the better football we play and the better we are as a team, the cool thing is, that's when the exposure will happen. That's when everybody will see kind of more opportunity, I think.
Great. There's a question about your mentorship program. There's a lot of parents that enjoy hearing about the Junior Eagles and the mentorship program that you started with the varsity. What's the thought process really behind rolling that program out? What are you trying to get out of that?
Well, it's the whole men of integrity purpose that we have in the program. We've outlined our core values and those characteristics in those core values, and to me they're just words on paper unless you start going the extra mile and doing those things away from football. Again, selfishly, I think those type of things will make us a better team, make us play better ball. But at the end of the day, the wins and losses will be forgotten. It's the lessons that these guys learn of how to be better young men, and that's the ultimate goal. So, whether it's the community service initiatives that we're doing, whether it's having some guys enter back to our future Eagles, not only does that help our guys, but it helps our junior program, or whether it's going to read to elementary school on Friday. All those little things. The cool thing about service is that at first it becomes a chore and a task, but if you start to do it, you start to realize you actually get more out of it. And so just trying to give those guys those opportunities to learn that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great from a leadership development perspective. And also these little kids, they look up to these high school football players like they're rock stars, right?
Absolutely.
There's several questions about the JV program that are all relatively the same, so I'll paraphrase a little bit here. So the JV team, your philosophy around how that's coached, I know you delegate a lot of that. And our sophomores actually sustained their first regular season loss in 5 years. I know we've got kind of a mixed bag out there in JV now. They practiced before the game. I think that it sounds like they maybe ate their pregame meal a little late, and just wanted to see kind of how much you had on the JV program and your philosophy there versus letting your coach run with it. I know that's kind of a mixed bag of things they got there.
Well, I just kind of take them all in one there. I think so far this year, going back to the practice plan, one of the biggest issues I had, there were other issues, but one of the biggest issues I had is I didn't feel like we were servicing our JV the way I wanted to. And part of my whole practice model, if you notice, they're constantly getting work You know, unless they're doing the scout work, which they don't sit there and do all practice long, unless they're doing scout work, I want them involved. Now, there's times where you sit and learn and you watch and you wait for your turn, but there shouldn't be a whole practice when you're just sitting over. And those were some of the ways that we were able to tweak our model over the last couple of weeks. And whether it's getting them extra work during a varsity water break so that every varsity coach can have their eyes on them. You know, you do that 5, 6, 7 times during a week, all of a sudden that's 40 good reps with varsity coaches coaching them when they weren't getting any. You know, and I know lots of programs that don't. And so we put a very intentional effort on getting those guys coached up during the week, all 3 phases, varsity coaches going down and working with them so that they're not just some, you know, holding back for the varsity guys. In regard to last week, you know, again, every season's different. This is the first time I've ever had a non-Labor Day practice. So everybody had Monday off. Tuesday we turned around and again, I thought that was a good opportunity for varsity guys to get some extra film work and some extra running in while some of the JV guys went out and worked with the freshmen. So then Wednesday we come back and we had a just good on good type of day. I went with that Thursday, getting a little bit of work in more as I thought it was an opportunity to get them a little extra work where they had missed some earlier in the week. You know, tried to set the expectation because I knew kind of the thought process would be just kind of messed up. You know, hindsight, probably just keep it regular for them in the future. You know, but it was an opportunity for them to get coached up a little more. They had a good team period where they got to walk through some things. We didn't beat them up, we didn't bang on them, we didn't run them. You know, they probably weren't any more tired than they ever would have been. But, you know, maybe they ate a little late. You know, if we did a Thursday practice after school, they would be at that Thursday practice walkthrough just like they normally would. Right. So it really wasn't anything different physically. It maybe was a little different mentally. Again, you know, being a bye week, going into their JV game, I think you might have saw a little bit of a lethargic feeling there. But, you know, it is what it is. I thought they played well for the most part. They had a hard time moving the ball against a team that lined up and wanted to play, you know, press man and blitz the house. And they just didn't have the answer that night. Yeah. You know, I think if we get to play them again, I'd love for those guys to line up and play again. The defense played phenomenal. But to kind of sum up that whole thing, I am extremely happy with the work that our JV are getting. I think they would tell you, most of them, that they feel like they're getting work and seeing more work than what they were used to. And the 10th graders probably don't have a great idea, but the juniors and seniors who look back on it, they've made several comments about how much they think that the JV is preparing to play.
Yeah, great. Next question, I could probably make a good guess at this one. Could you see a freshman playing on varsity later in the season?
Well, again, I played freshman very sparingly in the past. If a freshman is playing varsity, one of 2 things has happened. Either that kid is you know, top 2% in the country, or you're struggling somewhere on the varsity level. And you know, right now, I have no problem saying that I don't feel like we're struggling at any position on the varsity level. I feel like we've got good players at each spot, and I feel like with our 2 position philosophy, we've got good guys that we can move to spots if we have issues. So this season, you know, I hope not.
So, Coach, last question. Already had 2 rivalry games this year. When you look into our conference, what do you see out there? What do you see out there as a potential next rival for Milton High School? Who's going to be the team that lines up that we think is going to be good every year, and we're going to play a lot of smash mouth football and create a good rivalry between the 2 schools?
Well, I mean, obviously I have a great understanding of the region that we're in, coming from West Forsyth, and our region being all Forsyth schools, you know, minus us. I think what you're going to find, and what I think most people who really pay attention have found Forsyth County football is not what the perception 10 years ago is anymore. West Forsyth has never had a losing season. They made the playoffs 7 out of 8 last year, 7 of the last 8 years. South Forsyth is playing extremely good football, especially over the last 3 years, making a quarterfinal run, almost beating state champion Colquitt last year, being a solid football team that almost beat Parkview in the first round. And this year is ranked 9 in the state and just beat South Gwinnett and has already beat Rockland. And then Lambert has won the Director's Cup, I think, the last 3 years in a row. Now that doesn't mean that they're a great football program, but it means that they're a champion at a lot of levels. And they are the current region champs, and they have to be knocked off. So, right now, I would just say, I know the connotation, I know the kind of, oh, that's still Forsyth County. That connotation has to go by the wayside, because there's a lot of darn good football that gets played in that region, and I can see any of those teams being huge rivals for me, because the region depends on it.
Well, let's become the team everybody wants to be, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, listen, Coach, that's a very fun piece to do where we get to take questions. And I'd like to say on behalf of all of the parents that are involved, it's not very often you get a head coach that's willing to sit up here and be as open and honest and candid and just taking free questions from the rest of the parent group. And I know that's very much appreciated from this group here. And, Coach, you've just done a great job so far. We're excited about what's ahead. And thanks for all your candor and meeting with us on these Sunday nights. Max Golden.
So let's get it up for our future state championship head coach, and the best announcer ever to stand in our 1990 National Championship Georgia Tech leader, Bill Weaver. Thank you so much, Bill. Great job. Thank you, guys. Thank you, the majors. We really appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you, Sagichi, for everything you do. Again, this is episode 3. So thanks again. We'll look forward to seeing you guys episode 4. Have a great night. Drive safe.